Are we heading for the highest UK taxes in over 300 years? Well, based on tax receipts as a share of GDP, it looks quite possible that we are. So what has the Chancellor got in store for us in this November's budget? In order to balance the books, the Chancellor can attempt to increase growth in the UK economy, make cuts to spending, increase taxes, or a combination of all three. Increasing growth has proved difficult, and domestic and international pressures do not seem to be relenting. Attempts to cut spending in this Parliament have met with significant resistance. Therefore, it looks likely that increasing taxation may well be her most significant lever in this November's budget. As always on this channel, this is not financial advice, and nobody knows at this stage what will actually be announced in the budget. And with that out of the way, let's look at 9 tax changes which could be announced in the budget. Let's start with income tax. There are rumours that the Chancellor is considering raising all rates of income tax by 2p. Let's look at the impact that this would have. A basic rate taxpayer with an average earnings of say £38,000 a year would pay £511 more in income tax per year. A higher rate taxpayer earning say £75,000 a year would pay £1,249 more in income tax. And an additional rate taxpayer earning say £150,000 a year would pay £3,000 more in income tax per year. Another option would be the continued freezing of tax-free allowances, not allowing them to rise with inflation. This alone could raise £8 billion over 2 years. However, a possible national insurance cut for basic rate taxpayers may ease some of the pain. Number 2 is pensions. The Chancellor might make some unpopular changes to pensions which will make it harder for some to ever retire. Currently, if you are a higher rate taxpayer, every £100 put into your pension effectively only costs you £60 because the government gives you tax relief. Also, on the way out, you can receive up to 25% of your pension without paying any tax up to certain limits. There continues to be speculation that these pension benefits could be reduced. Number 3 is individual savings accounts or ISAs. There has been much speculation that the Chancellor is considering reducing the yearly cash ISA limit from the current £20,000 to possibly £10,000 per year. By doing this, she hopes it will encourage investing into UK companies via a stocks and shares ISA. And there is even talk again of introducing a Great British ISA, which could enable £5,000 of additional ISA allowance to be invested in UK listed companies. However, many cash ISA savers choose not to be investors, because the whole point of a cash ISA is that their money is safe, and unlike the stock market, their capital is not at risk. The majority of my own investments are already in British companies within a stocks and shares ISA, and I would personally welcome the implementation of a Great British ISA, but I'm not convinced that tampering with the cash ISA limit is a sensible move. Number 4 is property tax. Currently in the UK, tax in the form of stamp duty is paid by the purchasers of a home. There is speculation that the Chancellor could replace stamp duty with a tax paid by the sellers of the home instead. This would presumably help first-time buyers and people moving up the property ladder. Connected with this is the possible review of council tax, a large ongoing bill for many, which might even be replaced by something which could raise even more revenue for the Chancellor. Also mooted is increasing taxes on landlords by imposing national insurance on rental income. And number 5 is wealth tax. There has been strong calls from some quarters that a wealth tax should be implemented in the UK. This means that someone with assets above a certain threshold would be subject to an additional annual tax. This would be very problematic for those who are asset rich but cash poor. However, it seems that this particular tax does not look imminent just yet. At number 6 is motoring tax. Motorists have benefited from a freeze in fuel duty since 2011. However, there is speculation that this will end in this budget and tax on fuel may increase again. With the gradual shift towards electric vehicle ownership, there will be a natural reduction in tax revenue for the government. However, there are rumours that a new tax of 3 pence per mile may be implemented for electric vehicles. This will probably not come in immediately and will have to go through a consultation process first. Extra motoring taxes are unlikely to be popular, especially those which monitor your vehicle usage. At number 7 is VAT. VAT has proven to be a favourite weapon of this Chancellor. She has already introduced VAT on private schools. There is speculation that this could be extended to other goods and services such as private healthcare, food and also children's clothing. There are also rumours that the Chancellor could lower the starting threshold where businesses pay VAT. This may have a negative effect on small businesses who will either have to pay the tax out of their profits or pass on the cost to their customers by increasing prices and so fueling inflation. At number 8 are sin taxes. Tobacco, alcohol and gambling already attract a significant level of taxes. There is no reason why the Chancellor would not raid these industries further to raise extra revenue. At number 9 is inheritance tax. This tax has already shown to be a favourite choice by the government to raise additional revenue. The Chancellor is said to be considering making gift allowances to others less generous across people's lifetimes. Inheritance tax is one of the most hated of all, and I'm sure we will all watch with bated breath to see what happens here. As I've already mentioned, nobody actually knows at this stage what will be announced in the budget despite all the speculation. All I can say is that I personally will not be making any changes at all to my finances ahead of the budget when we'll all know for sure what the changes will be. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful and let me know your own budget thoughts and predictions in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you soon.